Now, as of today, it's officially been 2 weeks since the Armory update released, and really until now, all the prior updates have been focusing on bugs, glitches with XP farmers, all the new cosmetics, and sometimes the one-off fix. Late yesterday evening, Valve returned with the first update in over a month that's not related to the Armory update, and I think it's safe to say that we're going to be receiving similar updates to what we got last night until the Shanghai Major, which that'll be played in early December, and possibly after we could start to get the real content that the Armory update, in my opinion, was supposed to receive at launch. Last night, devs sent out a 200 megabyte update, which on paper was just a bunch of miscellaneous fixes, but behind the scenes it included some very large patches involving packet loss. Today's video, we're going to break down last night's blog post, cover some brand new Counter-Strike news for what could be coming soon, as well as touch on the current rubber banding problem inside Counter-Strike. Now today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a CS2 trading site for all your skin needs. Whether you're choosing to deposit your in-game items or real-life cash, SkinsMonkey has it all. If you choose to trade yet need to top up your balance, you can do so by also using my code MANDO for a free $5. Alongside depositing, you get an additional 35% of a deposit bonus. With SkinsMonkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be in the top of the description down below. Now, firstly for today's video is last night's blog post. It was around a 200 megabyte update and came out yesterday evening. Now, first up in the graphics category, Valve fixed mixed resolution rendering from erroneously resetting during map changes. They also fixed a known crash when compiling lighting and Counter-Strike 2 workshop tools, which I would say this is why this blog post got published in the first place, which we will cover after. Many workshop mappers have stated that this update was very good for them, had a lot of bug fixes, and they also added a few things behind the scenes. Valve fixed detail normal UV scaling. Valve fixed several biplanar mapping bugs. They added an option to apply albedo color correction to transmissive foliage textures. Valve also added a startup warning when the game is launched under low available system memory conditions, or with a limited page file size. These conditions may cause the game to be unstable or crash. And lastly, in the graphics category, Valve added various stability improvements. And lastly, for the UI category, Valve fixed UI checkboxes behaving inconsistently when depositing or extracting a large number of items from storage units. And lastly, Valve added a regression with loading animated Steam avatars, and they stated the cows are moving again. And that pretty much concludes last night's blog post. Now, like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are going to give a quick rundown of the rubber banding problem inside Counter-Strike. But going back to the graphics category, I also want to discuss Counter-Strike being unstable and the game crashing, it feels like every other time I boot up the game. Now, dating back to CSGO, there was always the problem with alt-tabbing, especially if you don't play on the native resolution. This is why a lot of people are playing windowed or just full screen windowed. The problem with that is sometimes you don't always get the best performance versus just playing full screen. But when you tap out, there's always a problem where there's a really big delay where your game just outright crashes. Now, tapping out in any game can cause your computer to lag a little bit, so I suppose this isn't really an isolated issue, but I feel like it's just surrounding Counter-Strike. A little before the Armory update dropped for Counter-Strike 2, this got a whole lot worse. Every other time I boot up the game, it feels like the game crashes, I have to reopen it, or because I have 3 different monitors, it boots up on my left monitor, which is vertical, it's not even horizontal, and there are some points where I'm actually forced to either unplug the monitor, restart my PC, or where most of the time I just restart the game, which seems to also be an issue since launch, where every time I alt-tab, the game sometimes just crashes, and if you're in the middle of a clutch and you just alt-tab by accident, or maybe you're spectating somebody in a round that you can't lose and your timeouts are gone, well, you're kind of screwed. So I'm hoping with future updates, this can be fixed. Now, like we mentioned earlier, I believe the majority of this blog post was, in my opinion, just to let community mappers know there was dozens of different fixes and additions just for them. Very similar to the workshop side of things, CS devs only told us a little part of what actually got changed and added in last night's blog post. Valve sent out quite a few fixes for gameplay, specifically with the Hit Reg, and according to game followers, CS devs have added a brand new damage protection system to prevent bad cases of bullets not registering. Which, speaking of Hit Reg, I now want to quickly discuss that alongside rubber banding, which as of recently, it's been all over the place. Now, normally bringing this up would be a lost cause, but because CS devs are, well, seeming to have a two-way street now where we can talk to them, changes are being made, I'd say it's worth it. Now, the CS dev Fletcher Dunn over the last few weeks has posted about possible fixes, that being on our end as players, specifically with our gaming router. If you have the option for QoS, I would suggest turning it off. Now, he stated this in a couple of posts, and ever since I have turned this off on my end, and I have noticed some improvement, but I'm also still noticing lots of stuttering in types of scenarios where I'm dying behind walls, but nowhere near as bad as the game's launch. And because of instances dying behind walls, it's also very hard to tell if that's based on our end with our router, our internet, the networking side of things on Valve's part, or if it's just something in a completely different category, such as subtick. Like we stated earlier, the positive thing now is devs like Fletcher Dunn are talking to the community, taking feedback, and most importantly, actually fixing the game. So I think it's safe to say that we could and should expect more fixes like this, specifically for networking in the coming weeks before the major. Now, lastly, as it stands for CS2 and networking in today's video is a fix to packet loss when dropping the bomb. Now, there was a bug that was found by Olas4 on Twitter, where he first ran into it in a zone. He thought it was an isolated issue, but then he replicated it. He stated, confirmed, CS2 servers struggle and may have performance issues when dropping the bomb right after the round starts, but also planting the bomb, causing jitter in and out for everyone on the server. Notably, dropping the bomb right before the round starts doesn't affect the server at all. Now, this was just a few days ago, and at this time, it's very hard to tell if this has been fixed because it wasn't included in last night's blog post, but if it wasn't last night, I would expect this to be fixed in the coming days. And lastly for today's video is Deadlock's new ranking system. Deadlock now has it where you have to play 7 games a week to keep and get a rank. Now, you do have to play play 50 standard matches in order to even try and get a rank. But what most people in the CS community, including myself, are thinking after this update for Deadlock went out is that this is actually a pretty good ranking structure because you can actually climb your way to the top and actually make progress. And I'm assuming Elo Hell could still be here and still be a thing, especially if this was incorporated inside CS, but I think would definitely help out with a large portion of CS players. Now, if it could help with cheaters, I'm not sure. I think it could help in a sense with cheaters where they're not automatically getting into the highest rank and staying there forever, because once they're banned, they have to get 50 matches played, play 7 different games, and try and get placed in the best rank, or whatever rank they end up in. And let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys noticing any improvements after last night's update? And are you having any problems with networking? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.